do believe this hearing is a clear attempt to jam through a Supreme Court nominee who will take health care away from millions of people during a deadly pandemic.
The consequences of Judge Barrett's confirmation would be devastating for millions of Americans who would lose their health care during this pandemic.
Senate Republicans have found a nominee in Judge Barrett who they know will do what they couldn't do, subvert the will of the American people and overturn the ACA.
Well, those are the warnings from some Senate Democrats, including then-Senator Kamala Harris, questioning Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett about Obamacare and their predictions about what would happen if she was on the high court. Well, that was then, and now you have to do is look what happened 3 days ago when Justice Barrett and another Trump-appointed justice, Brett Kavanaugh, sided with their liberal colleagues. They dismissed the latest Republican-led challenge to the health care law. So what does this mean for Obamacare, and can these tea leaves tell us anything about where the court is going on other issues? Alex Little joins us, former U.S. Assistant Attorney, partner at Burr & Forman in Nashville, also a criminal defense and litigation attorney. Alex, always good to see you. A pretty surprising lineup, the way this decision shook out. What happened?
Well, it was surprising. I think the reason it was surprising is because the decision was actually not done on the merits of the challenge, but on something called standing. Standing is the principle that to be able to get into court and to have a lawsuit at all, you have to be injured. Those sort of procedural questions often break down very differently than sort of core constitutional questions, and that's what you saw in the decision last week.
Then is it your sense, though, that this was not a decision on Obamacare completely as a law, on the constitutionality of some of the issues, the tax issues, as opposed to what the specific technical issue that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so, you know, they didn't really address, the decision did not get to the merits of whether this challenge, and the challenge was, now that we've removed the penalty for the individual mandate, can it still be considered a tax, which is what Chief Justice Roberts had ruled in the original decision on this case. So the challenge was sort of that point. This court never reached that point because they said the people bringing the challenge didn't have standing to do so, which is a much more technical sort of procedural bar to get into sort of the factual matters that may have happened if they had reached the merits.
And what do you see in terms of the shifting politics and dynamics of the court with this decision? We have a full screen. Let's show it of similar and previous Obamacare issues that show how they all stack up. In 2012, you got 5-4 with Roberts, Ginsburg, Breyer, Kagan, Sotomayor. 2015, it went further, 6-3. 2021, this decision, 7-2. So it was stacking up, you know, more for Obamacare, whether it was the technicalities or not. Alex, what do you see in terms of especially Justice Barrett's siding with the liberals on this?
I think there's 2 points. One, for the court as a whole, it shows that they're a little bit tired to litigate this issue. You know, when the same law gets to the Supreme Court 3 times like this, it's very unlikely that the 3rd time is going to be the charm for challengers. And that's what we saw here. The Supreme Court has no appetite right now to overturn Obamacare. It's the law of the land. I think we can expect that it will be the law of the land unless, of course, Congress changes it. The second issue is what does this tell us about the new justice and Justice Barrett? I don't think it tells us a lot, in part because this was really a technical issue. As you said, you know, Justice Kavanaugh went the same way. And so we don't know much about how she's going to view sort of more potentially controversial constitutional issues as those come about. Supreme Court justices, particularly in the early years, can be very, very hard to turn, you know, to sort of get a sense of where they're going to be. I think Justice Gorsuch was a great example when he helped rule in the Bostock case that Title VII protected same-sex issues as well. So, you know, I think we're going to have to see a number of cases to determine where Justice Barrett's going to sort of end up on the spectrum of the court.
Do you have a sense of where that could be, especially if you're dealing with Roe versus Wade and other controversial issues?
Certainly the one that people are most sort of closely looking for is how she will decide abortion cases. We're going to find that out this coming term. The court has accepted a case that's going to look at some really early restrictions on abortion, and how the court decides this case could be the most monumental decision since Roe v. Wade on these issues. So I think we're going to find out very, very soon. If you look at her decisions on the Court of Appeals, when she was a judge at that level, there certainly is some suggestion that she would be willing to at least run back some of the protections that Roe v. Wade provided. So I think we're going to get that decision, or we're going to get that sort of look at her very quickly. And I think the folks who push for her nomination believe that she will, in the end, start to roll back protections.
All right. Remember David Souter? He surprised a lot of people before he retired back to New Hampshire. So we'll see as those decisions start rolling out. Alex Little in Nashville. Always good to see you, Alex.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.